Dexter Morgan might be one of the most fascinating characters ever put on television, but actually being him would be a nightmare you never wake up from. From the moment you open your eyes as a child surrounded by blood, to the day you're watching your own son wrestle with the same darkness that defines you, your entire life is a cycle of trauma, lies, and loss. You don't just hurt the people you love. You destroy them over and over again. Today we're covering what it really feels like to live and keep living as Dexter Morgan. You were born in blood before you can even understand what blood is. You don't remember the sound of your mother's voice, only the echo of her screams. You don't remember warmth, just the cold sting of a shipping container, the metallic air thick with fear and gasoline. You have a brother, Brian, but after those few days of horror trapped with your mother's severed body, that connection gets severed too. No child should start life this way, yet you do. You are made in trauma, carved from tragedy. Your dark passenger takes its first steps. When the doors finally open, the light that floods in isn't salvation, it's the beginning of a lifetime spent pretending you were never broken. The man who finds you, Officer Harry Morgan, doesn't know it yet, but he's bringing home a ghost. You don't cry, you don't talk, you just watch. And in your silence, Harry sees the truth most parents spend a lifetime refusing to face. Something inside you is missing. For a while, things are normal enough. You have a bed, a home, a mother you call mom, and a sister who won't stop talking. Deborah, so alive, so eager to impress. You envy her ability to feel. You study her laugh and try to copy it, the same way you study people who hug, cry, and fall in love. Your life is a dress rehearsal for being human. You mimic everything, trying to wear humanity like a costume that fits. But it never really does. Then the urges start. The small primal itch that whispers in your head and sets your teeth on edge. You don't know what it wants at first, only that you need to make it quiet. Small animals disappear in your neighborhood, and you're the reason why. The release feels right. Not joyful, not comforting, but necessary. Harry finds out, and instead of turning away in horror, he studies you. He's calm about it, too calm, because he knows what you are. Or at least thinks he knows. He doesn't see a boy in need of help, he sees something that needs control. Not the kind of control from a mental health facility meant to keep you safe from yourself and others, but the kind of control meant to secure a dangerous weapon. You don't know it then, but that decision will shape your entire life. Harry doesn't save you. He redirects you. He teaches you a system, a way to contain the monster with rules. He calls it the code. Never hurt the innocent, never get caught. You come to understand the morality of it. It's simple, logical, something you can hold on to when everything inside you feels foreign. For years, you live by it like a religion. You learn how to fake it better, to smile at the right times, and nod when you're supposed to. The world around you starts to buy the act. You're quiet, neat, a little awkward, but harmless. Over time, your hunger grows smarter, more selective. You learn patience from Harry, restraint. It turns into focus. When you join the Miami Metro Police Department as a blood spatter analyst, it's the perfect camouflage. Who better to analyze blood than someone who truly understands what it means when it spills? You fit right in, the guy who helps catch killers while quietly being one. You live by the code, channel your darkness into something that feels almost noble. But pretending to be human is exhausting, and every relationship you build becomes a facade you have to maintain. Still, pieces of your life start to form a strange, fragile balance. There's Rita, gentle, damaged, and so unsuspecting that she believes your awkwardness is just shyness. To her, you're a good man trying his best. To you, she's a shield, someone whose normal life keeps suspicion away. You don't mean to care about her, but somewhere between her quiet trust and her laugh, you do. Maybe not the way most people love, but enough that it hurts when things fall apart, and they always do. You would have made peace with your double life, if not for the ghost from your past. Brian Moser, your brother. He remembers what you forgot. He finds you and doesn't want to expose you. He wants to share it. For him, killing is joy. For you, it's order. That difference turns brotherly reunion into war. He wants the two of you to live free, to let the facade slip. He even tries to bring Deborah into it, your sister, his target, your anchor to the only sense of morality you have left. In the end, you kill him to protect her. Your first real family connection, gone by your own hand. You tell yourself the code demanded it, but deep down, you know it was more than that. You couldn't bear Deborah's loss. You couldn't admit what you really are. Even for you, denial can be survival. But the ghosts never stop showing up. Soon, everyone around you begins to suffer the consequences of being close to you. When the underwater burial ground you created for your victims is discovered, you become the subject of an FBI manhunt. Sergeant Dokes, the first man to truly see through your act, spends every day breathing down your neck, convinced you're the Bay Harbor butcher. He's right. He catches you in the act, and you are forced to act. You lock him away while you try to think of how to handle him. You can't kill him because he doesn't meet the code, so you decide instead to frame him as the butcher. It's a near foolproof plan, but you're too late. Fate conspires with a pyromaniac named Lila to blow him up, and you let it happen. Another death that keeps your secret safe. Another line crossed whether you choose to admit it or not. You try to have a friend, your first real actual friend, who sees you for what you are and understands what it means to have a dark passenger that is sometimes the one in the driver's seat. Miguel Prado, the ADA, who has your back, suddenly reminds you that you can't even have friends because they too will end up swept up in the waves of the violent storm that is your life. Cleaning up the debris of that aftermath should be a sign to not allow anyone to get close, but the internal conflict of trying to decide your own fate versus admitting what you really are is frustratingly stubborn. You tell yourself you can have both, the life others have and the darkness inside you. You convince yourself you're not a moth to the flame, but it's no use. In the end, Miguel kills an innocent woman after you taught him how to get away with it. You realize he is a monster without a cage and you kill him too. One less hermano in your increasingly lonely life. Then Rita is murdered. If your childhood made you empty, her death makes you hollow. The Trinity killer, Arthur Mitchell, who you thought could teach you how to live freely, kills her as easily as you've dispatched your own victims. You come home to silence, and then you hear your son cry out. The walls breathe grief, and the bathroom takes you back to that shipping container. Your son, Harrison, is sitting in blood, the same way you once did. The cycle is repeating itself. All your rules, all your order, none of it stopped you from creating another version of yourself. For the first time, you wonder if the code is meaningless. You keep functioning because that's what you do. Death, grief, guilt, they all blend into the same numb rhythm. You kill because you must, not because you want to. You go to work, you raise your son, and you tell yourself you can still be a father. But then comes Lumen, someone who sees what you are without running away. For a brief moment, it feels like a real connection. You both hunt monsters, you both know what it's like to be broken. But when her revenge is done, her darkness fades. Yours doesn't. She leaves and you feel the old emptiness rush in again to fill the void she leaves behind. Each time you try to connect, it ends in death or disappointment. But you meet another friend, Brother Sam, and he sees light in you. But soon he's murdered too. Deb idolizes you until she finds out what you are. Hannah McKay falls for you. You nearly kill her and get her sent to prison. LaGuerta gets too close. Deb executes her for you. You tell yourself you're a man of principle, but the truth is simpler. The darkness always wins. The code ensures you survive, but it doesn't make you alive. Then the world collapses completely. Deb is shot, left brain dead, and you're done pretending there's anything left to salvage. You dump her body into the ocean before vanishing into a hurricane, no doubt a physical manifestation of your life up to this point. The world thinks you're dead. You prefer it that way. It's not redemption, but it's silence. And silence is the closest thing to peace you've ever known. Years pass. Your name becomes a whisper. Your story a fading legend of Miami's blood-soaked history. You eventually move to Iron Lake, New York, and adopt a new identity under the name Jim Lindsay, a clean slate. You live quietly, stacking firewood and selling rifles to hunters. You build habits that feel honest, peaceful even. You don't take a life. You smile when you're supposed to. You date the local police chief, Angela Bishop, and for a while, the dark passenger sleeps. For 10 years, you actually believe you're free. Then he wakes up. Enter Matt Caldwell, a spoiled rich kid who got away with killing innocent people in a reckless boating accident. When he shoots the one creature you've learned to care about, a white deer, the only peace you've had, you snap. Years of restraint collapse in a single heartbeat. You strike Matt down right there in the snow, the familiar calm returning as you take his life. You take him to a makeshift kill room and finish him off, dismember him, and start thinking of places to dispose of the body in your new environment. The ritual feels both foreign and inevitable. The first kill in almost a decade, and it feels like coming home. You bury him as Jim Lindsay, but you know Dexter Morgan just clawed his way back to the surface. The old cycle returns, only this time, there's something new, your son. Harrison tracks you down, older now, shaped by the same shadows that haunt you. He's angry, lost, desperate for a father who will actually show up for him. You want to be that man, but you can't stop being what you are. He senses it before you say a word. There's something familiar in his eyes, a darkness you recognize like your own reflection. You both dance around the truth, two predators pretending to be normal in a town too small to hide in forever. Meanwhile, your girlfriend, Chief of Police Angela Bishop, starts asking questions about the missing Matt Caldwell, about your estranged son and your past in Miami, about all the blood and lies. You see the investigation tightening around you, and for once, you don't have the endless resources of Miami Metro to cover your tracks. You're just another man with a buried secret sitting under feet of snow. Eventually, it all caves in. You kill the town's sergeant, Logan, in a desperate escape attempt from jail. Logan was completely innocent, and Harrison sees you clearly for the first time, not as a flawed hero, but as a man who will kill anyone who stands in his way. Iron Lake stops being a sanctuary and becomes a trap. At the end of it all sits your son, holding a rifle, listening as you tell him the only honest thing you've ever said to him. He has to kill you. Because as long as you live, the destruction doesn't stop. He pulls the trigger. You expect nothing after that. No tunnel, no light, no peace, just oblivion. Instead, you wake up. 10 weeks later, in a hospital bed in Iron Lake, attached to machines you never asked for. You feel the bandage over your chest where the bullet went in. You hear doctors talk about miracles and second chances. You don't feel lucky, you feel robbed. You were given the death you deserved and then dragged back into the mess you made. You're weak, drifting in and out. When Angel Batista walks in, he's older, wearing the stress of years and losses on his face, but that sharp, inquisitive gaze hasn't dulled. He doesn't cuff you. He doesn't read you your rights. He hands you paperwork, explains that he's had your records corrected. Dexter Morgan is officially alive again. No more loopholes, no more hiding, no more presumed dead. You are back in the system, whether you want to be or not. By the time you're strong enough to walk, Angela is gone. She leaves Iron Lake with her daughter Audrey, choosing to escape rather than live in a town that will always remind her of you, and to avoid the potential danger of knowing you. The official story paints Logan's death as self-defense. The department swallows it whole. No one wants to admit they hired a monster and brought him into their homes. Angela is the only one who truly understands the danger you pose, and her answer is the only sane one. Put distance between you and everything she cares about. The moment you're out of the hospital, the question becomes simple. Where is Harrison? You follow the only trail you can. You look for bodies that look like your work, only messier. For crimes that feel like justice disguised as murder. For victims who weren't supposed to be missed. It doesn't take long. In New York City, whispers surface about a hotel employee, a missing guest body cut up into 9 pieces, and a room that's too clean. A serial rapist named Ryan Foster disappears, and his body is found chopped up into pieces in the garbage. The police don't know what to think just yet, but you recognize something. The details of the murder are all too familiar to you. You know it has to be your son and head to New York City to help him. You can picture it without seeing it. Harrison following Ryan into a quiet corner of the hotel. Harrison doing what you always believed he was built to do. The method is familiar, controlled, efficient. A body broken down and disposed of in a way that leaves almost nothing behind. Your son learned your lessons well. You find him in the aftermath working at the hotel, living there under the radar, trying to rebuild a life that doesn't involve you or his terrible past. He carries bags, cleans up messes, forces smiles. But beneath the uniform, there's the same tension in his shoulders, the same barely contained rage when he sees someone hurt someone weaker. He killed Ryan in a fit of rage to protect an innocent woman, but when the adrenaline has faded and the weight of what he's done is starting to settle, he is crushed by the guilt. You stop him just as he is about to turn himself into the police. He looks at you like he's seeing a ghost, because as far as he knew, you were dead. You tell him about the coma, about waking up when you shouldn't have, Logan's death being ruled self-defense, and about Batista making Dexter Morgan real again. He listens, but you can see that he is torn between anger and relief, wanting to run from you and wanting you to comfort him all at the same time. You recognize the conflict in his eyes, the way he's both sickened by what he did and doesn't know what to do with himself. You didn't feel that after your first human kill. You felt relief and release. You want to tell him it's not too late for him. Instead, you do what you've always done. You reach for the only tool you understand, the code. You talk to him about rules. About choosing targets who deserve it, about protecting the innocent, about never getting caught. You hear Harry's words coming out of your own mouth and hate yourself for it, but you keep going. You justify it by telling yourself this is how you keep Harrison from spiraling into chaos. That without rules, he'll become like the men you hunt, but you know better. The code never cured you, it just made you methodical. You teach it to your son, but you can see he may not need it. He may not be like you after all, but you know only time will tell. To move around the city unnoticed and keep searching for threats, you pick up work as a rideshare driver. It's supposed to be a cover, nothing more, a way to blend in. You expect anonymity. Instead, you get blessing. He gives you a ride when your car's towed, and from the moment you get in, it feels different. He talks easily, filling the silence with stories about passengers, routes, neighborhoods, and small bits of advice that sound like he's handing you a map to survive the city. He laughs loudly and openly, the kind of laugh you've only ever faked. He notices you're quiet, but instead of being put off, he leans in. Tells you it's okay to be new, offers to help. A true blessing. Before long, he's more than just a coworker. He offers you his downstairs apartment, no questions, no pressure, just generosity. You move in, and suddenly you have something you haven't had in a long time. A true friend who actually lets you into his life and cares about you. He invites you to meals, asks about your day, includes you in the small, ordinary rituals that make up his world. He believes you're just a guy starting over. He has no idea he's living with the Bay Harbor butcher. Over time, he shares pieces of his own darkness and where he came from, about being forced into violence as a child soldier, about the things he's done, and the nightmares that still claw at him when he closes his eyes. He has killed a man. Not meticulously, not with ritual, but by force. Why? The difference is he's spent every day since trying to be better than the worst thing he's done. Blessing carries his past like a scar, not a definition. He's kind to strangers, checks on neighbors, goes out of his way to make his passengers feel safe. He's haunted, but he's whole. Watching him joke and care and live despite everything, you feel something sharp and bitter twist inside you. This man, with blood in his history and trauma in his bones, is more real than you've ever been. Blessing is what you might have been if someone had tried to heal you instead of weaponizing you. If Harry had taken you to a therapist instead of a crime scene. If your first lesson had been you deserve help instead of you're not like other people. You find yourself wanting to keep him far away from everything you are. He sees you as a quiet, strange, but decent man. Meanwhile, Harrison knows there's more to it than you admit. He always has. He watches you prepare, sees the familiar gleam of purpose in your eyes, and understands that this is the closest thing you have to feeling alive. He's unsure about you. He comes back to you anyway, in his own way, refusing to fully step out of your orbit no matter how badly you've hurt him. While you juggle the friendship growing between you and Blessing, and the fragile relationship rebuilding between you and Harrison, another figure enters your orbit, Leon Prater. He isn't a serial killer, at least not in the way you usually understand them. He's something more abstract and, in some ways, more horrifying. A collector. Leon is a billionaire who treats murder like a hobby and killers like prized assets. He finances a secret network, a club made up of people who do what you do, but without any pretense of morality. They give him footage, trophies, and stories of their crimes. In return, he rewards them with money, status, and the thrill of being seen. He doesn't spill the blood himself, he just incentivizes it. He's turned killing into entertainment. All that matters to a power-hungry madman like Leon Prater is getting what he wants by using the people around him. You don't land on his radar because you're Dexter Morgan, you land on it because of someone else. Ronald Schmidt, better known as Red, the dark passenger of NYC, a man with a stolen moniker and a trail of bodies in his wake. Leon invites Red to a private gathering, a special event for his favorite monsters. A dinner where killers can bask in each other's depravity under Leon's approving gaze. Their benefactor, you find Red before Leon's people do, you put him on your table, wrap him in plastic, and end his career like so many others. And then you make a choice that's equal parts strategic and reckless. You take his place. You become Red, taking his identity just as he took yours as the dark passenger. You tell yourself it's about using Leon's gathering to take out multiple threats at once, about cutting off the head of a network that rewards murder. You don't say out loud that part of you is drawn to the challenge, to the idea of walking into a room full of killers and still believing you're the one who's different. When you finally stand in Leon Prater's world, surrounded by people who brag about their kills like trophies, you feel something you haven't felt in a long time. Outnumbered. They laugh about victims, about law enforcement, about how easy it is to get away with things when the right money is in the right hands. To them, you're just Red, another performer in the blood-soaked circus. Leon doesn't know you're Dexter. Not yet. He only knows what Red was supposed to be. He greets you like an investor greeting a valuable asset. You move carefully. You listen more than you speak. You watch Leon watch his killers. To him, they're not people. They're content generators, each with their own aesthetic. The morality you have always clung to, the code Harry gave you, looks more necessary than ever. You spent your life trying to do the right thing, using rules, boundaries, and purpose to stop innocent people from being murdered. Leon and his club prove that killing never needed a purpose, it only needed a market. All of it disgusts you to your very core. Meanwhile, another thread converges on this world. Angel Batista. He's been following his own trail of bodies and whispers, tracking patterns that feel uncomfortably familiar. Vanishing predators, no bodies or crime scenes, murders that look like someone correcting the failures of the system. His path leads him to New York. It's reported that the dark passenger in New York disappeared. He doesn't know you're involved. He just knows that a serial killer went missing in New York the second you showed up there. He was tracking you for the old murders, and now he thinks you and your son have committed more in New York. The worst part is that he is absolutely right. You are worried about what his snooping around will mean for you and your son. But before he can become too much of a problem, something horrible happens. When Leon finally discovers who you really are, it's not through weeks of suspicion or careful investigation. It's faster, more humiliating. Batista happened to connect the dots for the wrong people and clued Leon in. The man he knows as Red is Dexter Morgan, the Bay Harbor butcher. To Leon, this is a gift, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He doesn't want to expose you, he wants to own you. He makes that clear when he abducts Batista and ties him up on a table, wrapped in plastic in a sick imitation of your ritual. It's staged for you, a performance, a test. He wants you to kill Batista in front of him, to prove your loyalty to his little empire and to show that your code is gone. He needs to know that all that's left of you is killer instinct and utility. If you kill your old friend and colleague, the last real tie to the life you had in Miami, then you're his, a crown jewel in his collection. You stand over Batista with a knife in your hand, and for a moment, the room disappears. It's just the two of you, the way it always should have been. He looks at you with a mix of fury and heartbreak. This is the man who trusted you, who shared beers with you, who celebrated cases with you, who crashed on your couch, who thought he knew who you were. Now he knows the truth. You're the monster he never caught. And he's strapped to a table waiting to see what you do next. You could kill him. It would be easy. A familiar motion you've perfected over decades. It would save your cover. It would earn Leon's approval. It would keep you and Harrison safe a little longer. It would also be the final irreversible proof that there is nothing left of the man you told yourself you were. That you truly are nothing but your dark passenger. You make your choice. You cut Batista's restraints instead. Once he is free, his rage takes over. He lunges. Years of grief and betrayal exploding in a single motion. You got Dokes killed. You got Lagerta killed. You got Deb killed. His hands close around your throat. You don't fight him at first. Maybe a part of you believes this is right, that it should end here, at the hands of a man who represents everything you failed to be. But then gunshots rip through the air. Leon fires again and again, each bullet piercing Batista's back. Blood spreads across the back of his shirt, and Leon flees the room, locking you inside. Another good man dies within arm's reach of you, because of you. Batista's last look is pure accusation, and he uses his last breath to curse your name. You didn't kill him with your hands, but his life was extinguished because you exist. The aftermath is chaos. Everything that happens next is survival, not strategy. Harrison sees Batista's under the sheet you used to cover his body, and gets dragged deeper into Leon's world as he comes to help you escape the trap. The father he tried to execute in a snowy clearing is now roping him into another nightmare, leaving behind the body of another innocent man. You wish you didn't have to involve him, but it's your only chance of survival. You and Harrison barely get out alive. Leon tries to kill you both, but in the end, he is the one who dies. You get him on your table, refusing to take a blood slide from him as a trophy before you stab him in the chest. There's no neat ending. Leon's network doesn't vanish overnight. You don't walk away with clean hands or a clear conscience. You just escape. Again, something you've always been unnervingly good at. Being Dexter Morgan means never getting the clean ending you've earned 100 times over. It means waking up from the death you asked for, only to find more blood on your hands. It means watching men like Batista die while you walk away. It means seeing someone like Blessing, broken but kind, and realizing that whatever you are, it's something even trauma couldn't explain away. It means looking at your son and seeing both your worst fear and your only hope staring back at you. You tell yourself you're still trying. Trying to protect Harrison, trying to aim your darkness at the right targets, trying, in your own warped way, to do more good than harm. But if you're honest, you know the truth. Being you doesn't just ruin your own life, it poisons everyone who lets you into theirs. Still, you cannot change who you are, and after years of trying to shut your darkness out, you are finally starting to re-embrace it. You've spent your entire existence balancing the monster you are with the man you want to be. Yet no matter how many chances you're given, no matter how many times you should have died, you're still here. Heart beating, knife steady, dark passenger whispering, and somewhere, deep down, you understand the cruelest part of it all. The story isn't over. Not for you, not for Harrison, not for anyone unlucky enough to get close to Dexter Morgan. How do you think it would feel to be Dexter Morgan? Let us know in the comments. And if you like this video, make sure you check out our video on everything that should happen in Dexter Resurrection Season 2. We'd love to see a POV of you slashing the subscribe button. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.